Maybe. Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel and welcome to Q&A, live Q&A. Today is June 13th, 2016. So we're glad you're with us. This is where I answer your questions that you may pose. It's been a couple weeks since I've done one of these. Well, technically Sam and I did a live one last Sunday, so it hasn't actually been that long. So if you have any questions for the first half of this, we'll take questions through a link in the description of the video. That's Q&A. And you can ask questions and upvote other people's questions there. So I'll start from the top. I won't get to every question, and I'm not promising to answer every question either, but I will answer as many of them as I can. So we're going to get started here. Let's get over to that website and see what the top rated question currently is. Do you have any industry statistics about how big board gaming is in different regions, like USA, Europe, and does it expand dramatically just in the USA or in other parts of the world as well? I don't have any statistics other than, you can see that it's growing everywhere. You can see the huge growth in conventions. It's definitely very huge in Europe and the US comparatively. It's growing in Asia. I know that there is gaming in Africa, but I do not know how much, and it's certainly not to the extent that it is in other countries. South America, there's some mostly centered in Brazil, but there is gaming in many of the other countries also. But I don't have any stats on that, sorry. If all my games fell off my shelves, would I be able to put them back without researching which piece goes which games? Well, okay, so I'm assuming you're saying they all fell out and all the bags in them got holes where the pieces fell out. I think I could do most of them probably. I might have to look at a yellow cube and go, I don't know what game this comes from. That would be a horrible thing. But I think maybe a better question would be is if a tornado came and picked up all my games and then dumped them all in a neat pile of components, could I sort them back out? Yes, but I'd probably just light it on fire and get some new games because that would be such a horrible thing. Which publisher has published the most games in your collection? Off the top of my head, I want to say Fantasy Flight. But it would be close. Because I got a lot from Fantasy Flight. I got a lot. Days of Wonder, AEG, Z-Man games. Probably Fantasy Flight, though. But I think I have a pretty good spread across the board. Let's see here. What apps are great for board gamers? A starting player app is a really useful thing to have. I would recommend everyone get a starting player app if possible. If you had to guess, how much money do you think you've spent on board games in your entire life? I do not know. And it's a very weird number at this point because the amount of money I spend on board games or board game related things now is extremely high, but that's because it's part of my job, so it's a lot of business related stuff. As for games themselves, there's a lot of different games going on, and looking at games. Before I was reviewing full time, I would say I spent $2,000 a year, which seems pretty high. It is pretty high. That's high. That's too much. But I don't know, how much I've spent. Are any Dice Tower employees or contributors amateur magicians? I don't think so. I have a few magic tricks that I do that are super, super amateur. But I do them for kids mostly. Maybe someone is, and I just don't know. Not a ton of questions here. Or not a ton of questions with multiple votes. When you run out of space to store board games but still have so many you want to buy, what should you do? A, stop buying new board games, or B, get rid of some. You're not going to play that many board games. If you've run out of storage space for board games, then it's time to replace them with better ones. That's what I do. I have this wall of games behind me, which you can't see all of, but there's a ton of games there. And I don't have more room than that, really. So when a new game gets added to the collection, an old one goes out. Besides, I have, 350 games behind me? That's almost a game for every day of the year. I'm not even playing all these games. So that's really more than I need. This is an excess behind me to some degree. I could probably cut it by a couple shelves and not really notice it. Oh, this is an easy question. What board game would have an appeal to someone who is a fan of Myst and similar computer games? Time Stories. Hands down. Not even a question. Time Stories is Myst. to some degree as a board game, especially the first one, Asylum. Very similar to Myst. Better than Myst, though, because at least it has a theme that makes sense. And I still, these many years later, do not know what happened in the game of Myst I played. If I was invited to appear on Tabletop, who would I choose as my opponents, and what game would I play so that it would be the best show? Well, I think the games that I would play are the games I play on my live shows. I think Resistance and Sheriff of Nottingham and things like Dead of Winter and Cosmic Encounter make for good viewing. Most games don't make for good viewing. People think, oh, that'd be a great game to watch live. No, it's not. As for who my opponents are, I would, anybody, as long as they have fun playing the game. I think that Rhett and Link are pretty funny guys, and they seem like they really got into the game that they played when they played Concept. So maybe them. Let's see here. Which board game stereotypes have a bit of truth to them? All of them. There's no existence for a stereotype unless there's a bit of truth behind it. Since my outrageous dream game room included a huge fish tank. That's right. If I had this giant game room, I would have a big fish tank on one side. What's my history of owning fish? It's pretty horrific, actually. I have committed pesticide or fishicide. I bought a fish tank when I was in Korea because it wasn't that expensive, and I was like, oh, let's get some fish. And I got a ton of fish. They were cheap, and I just kept buying fish after fish after fish, and so many of them kept dying and dying and dying and dying. And I finally went online. I'm like, why are my fish dying? And realized that I wasn't heating my water, and that apparently keeps your fish from dying, as cold water will kill them. So I then stopped killing as many fish. But also, it would sometimes it would say, don't mix these fish with other fish, and I'd be like, wow. I'm sure that's more of a suggestion than an actual rule. Like they had crawfish, and they're like, don't put crawfish in with other fish. I'm like, they'll be fine. Then the crawfish started eating my fish. So, yeah. But I still like fish. I just probably have someone else take care of them. What are my favorite Zelda and Mario games? My favorite Mario game is Super Mario 64. And my favorite, I'm taking out all the extra Mario Kart and all that stuff. Just the straight Mario games. Because probably my favorite Mario game is the Super Mario RPG for the Super Nintendo. That has Mario in it. But for the Mario games, probably Mario 64. For Zelda, I have not played anything past. I've only played part of the Super Nintendo one. I mean, I'm sorry, not the Super Nintendo one. Part of the Wii one. So I don't really have a good answer for that because Link to the Past is the one that I would say for Super Nintendo because I've played and beat that one 3 times, I think. Let's see here. What percentage of the Alphabet's games are in my collection? Do not know, and I'm not going to figure that out. Too much work. If you could only save 5 games in your collection, which would you take? I would take a bunch of time and sit down with a long list and figure out which ones cost the most to replace. Those would be the 5 I would take. It's a purely financial thing. I mean, I wouldn't pick my 5 favorite games if I could replace them easily. But if I couldn't replace them easily, then those would be the games. So HeroScape for one, right? Because I have like $1,000 worth of HeroScape stuff. Well, maybe not. Yeah, because HeroScape stuff has skyrocketed in price, so probably there. How do I feel about the new Board Game Geek interface? Seems fine. I mean, it takes some getting used to. There's a few things I liked the old way better, but for the most part, I like the new version better. I see everyone complaining and screaming about it, but that's because I don't believe it's possible to make a change on the internet without people getting upset about it. Let's see here. Tom said, you seem a bit squeamish in regard to Sam and Z's pretend puke. How are you with blood and diapers? Alex, since you seem a bit squeamish in regard to Sam and Z's pretend puke, so it's possible, if they are pretending to puke, that I am pretending to be squeamish, right? It's possible, I would think, in that regard. So blood doesn't really bother me that much. I don't think I would want to operate on someone. That seems kind of gross. But blood, I mean, if I had a problem with blood or diapers, having 7 kids would be really problematic. Vomit for me has always been really tough, though. I think it is for most people. It's not so much the look of it, it's the smell of it. And I'm kind of mind-boggled how many TV shows are intent to show it to us these days. Let's see here. Let's get some good questions. I've already answered that one. What is the most surprising thing that you discovered on your recent trip to the UK? The most surprising thing? I think maybe I was just surprised at how Amerithrashy the whole convention was. I was expecting more of what I'd seen in Germany, a lot of Euro games, and there was a lot of Euro games, but there was a lot of miniatures, which is like a duh moment because Games Workshop is from Great Britain. It just never occurred to me that that's kind of what would be going on over there. How do we not already have a top 10 games that involve food? Oh, it's coming. It is coming. Would you view it as copyright infringement to use the Dice Tower logo on homemade Price is Right style tribute shirts? That's a very specific question. I would hope you would ask, I guess. I guess they just did ask. I don't get the whole Price is Right tribute thing. You have to email me and tell me about that because I don't know what that means. Can we do a top 10 Ticket to Ride maps? No, there's not enough maps. I mean, we would be talking about well, maybe there's 10 now, but we would be talking about the exact same 10 maps in a different order. That'd be very boring, I think. I mean, I might do one sometime, like a short top 10 list. These are my 10 favorite maps of Ticket to Ride, and here's why. I've never played the Oregon Trail. I've watched it played. I know it's that whole nostalgia thing. I find it fascinating and interesting. I wouldn't play it now, but I just never played it back when I was a kid. I do not have Dice Tower bumper stickers. No. All right. You know, you can upvote other people's questions. There's a lot of questions here, but no one is voting for others' questions. Thoughts on Scythe after playing it for the first time? Well, I think we talked about this in a show, our live show, not the one that's going up tomorrow, which I still need to put together, but the one that went up last week, our live show. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I like to play it again. It was less combat heavy than I thought. Combat's in the game, but the combat, and combat's important, but the combat is not as critical to winning, I think. I would really like to try it again. There was a lot of there's a lot of stuff going on, and it looks more complex than it is. So I'm very interested in trying it again. It just will be a while, I think. Looks like all the questions here are from the same people. Is the new King of Tokyo, with no substantive game changes, just visual changes, considered a cash grab rather than a legitimate second edition? I can give you a resounding underline with exclamation points after it. No, it is not a cash grab. I just know this, okay? And in this particular instance, there are other factors involved, and that is why the second edition has come about. There are many different things involved in that, but it is kind of the start of a new thing, and I think you're going to see some really cool stuff come from this second edition in the future. The second edition also paved the way where they can tie it to King of New York in a better way and have future expansions work with both games. There's some real reasons that they went ahead and did that, because it's not just a cash grab. They needed to do the new artwork. Now, you might have an argument that putting in 2 new characters and pulling 2 out is a bit of a cash grab, but I think there was other reasons involved in switching those characters too, also because the Space Penguin is so popular. But it was not reprinted as a cash grab, and from my many talks with the Yellow folks, there were many other reasons behind the scenes in regards to that. Top 5 movie sequels that were better than the original. Terminator 2 is better than Terminator. Are we skipping all trilogies? Because, I mean, most people would say Empire Strikes Back is better than Star Wars, but I actually like Star Wars better than Empire Strikes Back. The Lord of the Rings Part 2 was better than Part 1. In fact, that's one of the best. That might be the best moment in the whole series. Um, it's not a very good question I'm prepared to answer, I think, because I know there's many of them. I just don't know off the top of my head. All right, let's refresh the questions here. I might switch over to YouTube faster than normal this time, mostly because there's like 80 questions still left here in Q&A, but very few people are voting up other people's questions. Why aren't you and Sam involved in Z's Top 100? I missed two of you giving the third trash for their picks, as opposed to the people who are very angry when we are in the top 100s and because we do give trash for other people's picks. You can't have everything, and so we just switch it out all the time. So me and Sam were with Z last time he did a top 100, so this time we are not. I just like to change things up, and you can also be more focused and talk about the games, and that is why we're not in his top 100 this year. Is it unethical to research board game strategies online rather than discover them through play with your group? Wouldn't it give you an unfair advantage over other players? Cheating athletes would say others can use steroids like they do. Well, that is a false equivalency to compare steroids to using strategies online. Steroids are giving you an advantage. I think I think a more comparable thing would be, say, is it wrong to read books on how to be a better baseball player, to go online and see some tips on how to do football, or to watch videos that show this? Everyone can do that, and I think everyone does do that. I mean, if I was a competitive board game player, 100% I would be reading every strategy online about this. I don't see how that's unethical. Comparing it to, if I was taking mental steroids, whatever that would be equivalent. So it's not unethical. I don't do it because it's not fun for me. I don't care if I win that badly. I just want to play. And I do like to discover the strategy for myself, but I don't hold it against other people if they do go look up strategies. Let's see. Have you used the Descent app? What are your thoughts? Well, I'd like to do a complete review on it, but I have used the new Descent app. Me and Melody are playing through it right now. We are... The good is, it's well done. It's beautiful. The music is great. Random events are cool. Having it pick monsters and seeing part of the dungeon as you go through, that's really cool. Disadvantage is, I still need to pull out the entire Descent game. I mean, I got 4 boxes. You can't see them over here, but it's essentially a whole shelf like this right here of Descent stuff. That is a ton of Descent stuff. And so it will bring out a monster, and I have to go through the pile and find that monster card and put that monster out, and then we have to look at that monster and see the different things. Oh, this monster causes bleed. Okay, find the bleed cards. And I would have loved if all that stuff had been in the app. Now, I'm assuming that it's not in the app so that they make you actually buy the game, I think. But I think the app would have been way more useful if it said, this monster is rolling these dice. This monster has these special abilities. And since it actually makes the game harder for the players, because when I was the Overlord, I would be like, okay, I'm keeping track of these monsters. This monster has reach, so I'm okay. He has reach. Now, as players, I have to keep track of my stuff and what the monsters can do. And you're also playing against monsters that are moving in a robotic pattern. And I'm actually disappointed. I feel like it's cool, and if you don't have an Overlord player, it's great. But if you have an Overlord player, I'm not sure I'd want to use it. I'm not real keen on fighting these robotic monsters that follow pre-programmed movement. So give me a little bit more on it, and I'll probably do a review of it in a couple weeks. I don't normally review apps, but this one was a big enough deal that I wanted to. What is the hardest parts of my job is keeping up with everything, making sure everything gets done. The more that I delegate, the more I have to keep track of everything and make sure it's on schedule. I feel like a good chunk of my life now is making schedules and keeping up with emails and trying to make sure. And sometimes it's hard to decide what games we're going to review next because there's that much going on. And so I would say that's the hardest part. It's still not that difficult. Do you like any spotter games? I don't know if I played very many. So probably I would like them if I played more of them. I'm sure I will like Fast Food Franchise when I get around to playing it. Are there unwritten gaming rules known to all gamers? Yes, there are. That sounds like a great segment for Board Game Breakfast. That's an interesting idea. I'm not going to answer that now. I might run with that one. How many times a year should you expect to play a game in order to keep it in your collection? They say length 60 to 90 minutes. I don't it's how much I would want to play the game that I'll keep in my collection. I don't have a set time of I look at a game and go like, "Nah, I think it's out." It's a gut feeling more than any specific numbers. What Star Wars game and what non-Star Wars game do a great job of letting you rewrite the canon of their IP while keeping the authentic feel of the IP? I think all the Star Wars games do a good job at that. They're from Fantasy Flight, all of them. X-Wing Armada, Rebellion does a really great job of that. Non-Star Wars games? Oh, I'm sorry for yawning. Not even that tired. Robinson Crusoe. Uh, I'm gonna say Robinson Crusoe. All right, let's see here. Do you consider Board Game Geek direct competition? No, they are indirect competition. I mean, obviously, we compete for some things like video views, and like when we go to Origins, we're both live streaming at the same time this year, so that's obviously competition. There's no way around it. But for the most part, we work complementary with each other. I do reviews and put them on their website, which drives them traffic and so on. How many games in your collection do you suspect you'll never play again? I think if I suspected I would never play that game again, I would probably get it out of my collection. So I have the intention, at least, of playing every game in my collection again. And when I sit around and go, I might never play this game again, it's gone. By the way, folks, I apologize. We're going to end a little bit earlier today just because we are going to Origins tomorrow. And so there's a lot of things to get ready for Origins. So in just a few minutes, I'll be switching over to YouTube comments, but not yet. Let me see. What personal information are you most often asked that is no one's business? That's interesting. Maybe politics, but I'm not sure that politics are no one's business, but it's sometimes like who you vote for and stuff. I don't know that that's necessarily. I don't get asked that out very often, though. Oh. Let's see here. Yeah, you know what? We're going to switch over to YouTube comments now. So I will now start taking things from the people here on YouTube. So if you have asked questions there, remember I'm not going to answer all of them. I'll just answer the ones that catch my fancy or look like good questions. And repeating your question multiple times will probably not get it asked. And if you ask a question I don't answer, there's always a chance on Board Game Geek. I have a FAQ for the Dice Tower where I answer questions that are asked multiple times. So that's possible there. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, the stream has stopped. Has the stream stopped for you? I'm not sure what the problem is. It's saying that I have good streaming here on my end. Well, I apologize, folks who are watching this later on, but apparently there's some sort of problem. I'm going to think it's on YouTube's end because my streaming thing is good here. And it is good from that end. Well, I don't know, folks. I'm just going to keep going because it seems like it's working there. Well, that looks like it's behind. Is that live? Well, I will answer some of these questions anyway. Do you generally organize your collection? Okay, that's one of those questions I'm always asked. I need to add that to the FAQ. I organize my collection by box size. That's it. No other reason. Am I excited about the upcoming expansion this month for Marvel Legendary Civil War? I am not. Not because I don't like Marvel Legendary. I really do. It's just that there are so many billion combinations for Marvel Legendary as it is that I'm sure I'm going to get each expansion as it comes out and try out the new stuff. But how many more variations of these characters can we have? It's a little wearisome. There's just so many expansions for that game at this point. I'll never be able to play with everything as there is. So I'm like, oh yeah, it's cool, another expansion, but I'm certainly not excited about it. When you do another Kickstarter, would you consider a pledge where we could email you with a list of our love, hate, mad games and have you, Z, or Sam give us one game each you think we'd like? I don't know that I would want to do that. It seems like that would be. I don't like doing that now, right? I'm not your personal shopper to some degree. I'm not. It's not my job to hunt you down. In the games, it's our job to show you all these games, and you got to make a decision. It's really hard for us to tell what someone will like unless I know that person. And so that, I don't know. At a pledge level, I just don't think for you people would be that interested in it, and I don't know that I would really want to do it. Let's see here. Have you thought about putting a system in where people can vote on games to review? I've thought about that and rejected it straight out. And I'll tell you why. It's not because we don't care what people think, but because when we review games, there's so many different factors to go through. And there's a game that'll come in and be like, I really want to play this game. And people will never vote for that game. There's also a lot of small little games that people will never vote for, but they deserve some recognition because I think they're really cool games. And we're trying to review everything. So I don't know how having people vote on games will really change things right now. We already are reviewing almost all the big releases that come out. And the ones that we don't, there's probably reasons for it, maybe because no one's interested in it or whatever. And so having people vote on it, I don't think would change anything. Where's my British accent for this Q&A? I don't believe I've ever affected a British accent at all, because I don't think I can do one very well. Do you need to repurchase King of Tokyo? I don't think you need to. I think they're going to have a little upgrade kit with the 2 new monsters, or at least they're discussing an upgrade kit with the 2 new monsters for people. So I'd wait and just get that when that came out. In a podcast a while back, you talked about a time travel short story. The dad goes back to save his son, then his wife, and never seems to succeed. Do you remember what it was? Where's my phone? Can you grab my phone real quick? I can probably tell you the name of that. I'll pull it up on my Kindle real quickly. Thank you, sir. I'll pull it up on my Kindle and tell you. This is from in my library. It's under Time Stories. Let me see here. The Second Time Travel Mega Pack. Okay, it's definitely in there. And I believe in this book, what would it be called? Wow, so many of these have like just generic. They have generic titles in this thing here. Seems like old time, the business through time and space, time well spent, saving Jane Austen. Is it saving Jane Austen? I don't think so, no. Is it in the cards? Yesterday's paper, a matter of time maybe? Nope. Okay. This is very fascinating to watch me. The Cavern's Time, Through Time and Space, Lost in Time, Outside of Time, Compounded, the man who Well, I don't remember the name of the story. There's so many great stories in this book that I'm actually not sure which one it is. Is it A Matter of Time? Nope, I already asked that one. In the cards, I doubt it. Yesterday's paper, The Daytime Stop, Time Well Spent. Well, I apologize. It was just a short story. The next time I go through and find it, I'll have to remember the name of it so I can talk about it in the future. I just really enjoyed that story. Oh well. Sorry. That was fascinating Q&A. Why do people keep asking me about the soccer tournaments or football tournaments overseas? I don't think I know anything about those. So let's see here. Did you etch your name into the old gaming table before you got rid of it? Did you sell it or give it to a friend? Okay, if I wasn't clear, Sam Healy now has the table. You'll see it in his videos. So he has the game table. We did not get rid of it. It just makes sense for him to have one for him to do his reviews on also. And before people ask, Z did not have as much room for the table as we did. Will Z get a table in the future? Who knows? Stay tuned. Well, I know, but stay tuned anyway. Is Brewcrafter still in your collection? It's not. If I own it, do you think Caverna is different enough for me to get it as well? Oh, yeah. I like Brewcrafters, but Brewcrafters, to me, is a much tighter, fiercer game. Caverna is more sprawling and open, and there's so many cool things you can do. And I thought Brewcrafters was fine, but Caverna is like in my top 10 games. I love Caverna, or at least in my top 20 games. It all depends. I haven't made my list yet, but certainly one of my favorite games. Love Caverna. What is the most exciting aspects of the new location for Dice Tower Con? Well, for me, the most exciting aspect of the Dice Tower Con is the hotel itself. All the rooms in the hotel are suites. It's a great hotel. The pool there is beautiful. The new convention center just feels like a convention center with big, the big hallways that convention centers have. Giant ballroom. It just feels like top-notch quality. So that's what I'm most excited about. It's a good location. It's pretty close to Disney. There's some places you can walk to eat from it. And if you have a car, there's a lot of places that you can drive to from the new location. It's just a very impressive setup overall. But the convention center itself is the thing I'm most excited about. How did you manage to get all of Conquest of the Planet Earth and its expansion to fit in one box? Where is it? Conquest of the Planet Earth. It's on my shelf somewhere. I think I still have it. I've been really meaning to play it lately because I really do like the game. Conquest of the Planet Earth. It's one of these square boxes. Why am I not seeing it? Level 7. Oh, there it is. Doesn't seem like it's problematic. Seems like there's plenty of room. Maybe you didn't take out the inserts? I mean, I got all my cards, or I didn't sleeve my cards. Maybe that's a problem you have. It seems very, very simple to fit all this in here. I don't know. I even have the little expansions. Yeah, it fits in there pretty easily. It's heavy. Where can I get those non-Euclidean D6s? They made my eyes hurt and I need them. I see them at every convention. Usually to stand sell them. It's not ChessX. I actually saw them when I was at England at the Dice Stand, which name I forget now. But I've seen them at many places before. I think they're called non-traditional D6s or whatever. Have you ever gotten rid of games solely based on box size to make room for a number of smaller games in place? Not really. I get rid of the games because I think that game isn't going to get played much anymore. Thank you for posting the old Dice Tower episodes. If you talked to Joe Stedman lately, how is he doing? I have not. We have really kind of lost touch lately, and so I haven't heard from him in about a year or so. Last I know, he was working in a school in Texas, I believe. That's the last I think I knew. Okay. Whew, I'm behind in questions. All right, let's see if I can catch up here. Where are all the Mad Max games? I agree. We do need more Mad Max games. That's for sure. When will you do a new intro for Board Game Breakfast? I want to see some other components roasting. Yeah, I know. It's interesting because I used to do a new one every week. And then I went down to doing a new one every once in a while. I think now it's like every 3 months. And no one seems to have really complained. This is the first complaint I've got about it. It is a bit of work to do those. So cutting that out of my schedule did make it a little bit easier. But yeah, it's about time to do a new one probably. Did you go see Alice Through the Looking Glass? I did not, because there's so many good movies coming out in the theater this year, and I can only afford to go see a few of them in the theater. I usually wait till movies come out through streaming somehow, or I can just rent them online or something like that. And also the reviews for it have been abysmal, like really abysmal, so I'll just wait. How's looking for the new offices for Dice Tower going? It's not going at all. We simply don't have that money in the budget this year. We had an idea where we were going to be able to afford it through a certain series of events, which did not happen. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, and it's not killing us. And we were able to do some other neat things this year. It's like, if you haven't checked out our new 360-degree camera, I'm pretty excited about that. We're going to be using it at Origins this week, and hopefully that will look pretty cool. How are the Kickstarter promos coming along? I will be posting an update on that today, actually. So hang on for that. Let's see here. Did every match get an expansion all in one box? This is box pull out there, I think. Yep, this is the expansion box. Scoundrels of Skullport. Everything is in here. And I've even upgraded it, and I think it's pretty close. I actually have an insert. Oh, yeah, this is one of the ones that Robert Searing made from inserthere.me. And so if you can see, this is like one of those games you play, like how far can you tilt it? Everything is stored in here very nicely. One meeple has fallen out. All right. But, yeah, it fits in. This fits in here with room to spare, I think. So I was pretty happy with that. Are you going to try the new Kill Dr. Lucky? I am going to try the new Kill Dr. Lucky. Did you try the new plaster Flick 'em Up yet? You know what? Yes, I did mess with it a little bit. I did not think it would be very good. I'd be like, plastic. The wooden's better. The wooden is better, but the plastic was pretty good. It flicked pretty well. I was pretty impressed with it. Like I said, I didn't think it would be much, but I think you won't be that upset by not having wood if you get that one. Did I play Prodigals Club? I definitely did, and a review that has been in the works for a while. It's just that I'm reviewing that one with Jason for Every Game is Awesome, and our first recording of it, the mics didn't work so well, so we need to redo that. And Jason has just been extremely busy for like the last 2 weeks and going on the next week or so, working on, there's a big soccer tournament in South America that's being covered by his station, so he's been working like 14 hours a day. So hasn't been able to record that with me. So we will have that done. We may record it next week after Origins and then have it up the week after that before Dice Tower Con. Is there anything you said in the old podcast that you totally disagree with now? I'm sure there's something, but I can't think of anything specifically, but I'm sure there's something that I said. Are you ever going to review Nexus Ops? You've talked about it many times, but haven't done a review of it. That's interesting. I think I talked to Sam or Z and asked if one of them could review it. I don't actually have Nexus Ops, but I think one of them has it, so maybe they could review it. But yeah, we should get a video review of that one up on our channel. Do badly written rulebooks ruin or at least take away from some of the fun from a new game you play? Yes, for sure. If a rule book is poorly written, I will sit there and be like, I'm really struggling to get through this rule book, and it can make the game not as fun. And then once you figure out the game, you're like, oh, okay, it's better now, but man, that rule book was bad. I don't think it will reduce your overall enjoyment, but it can really hamper that first enjoyment. I've already thrown rule books while playing them. Let's see. I kept the insert in a box of Conquest of Planet Earth, so that's why they didn't fit. I just hate to ditch the insert, though. Hey, if you want to make them both fit in a box, get rid of that insert. Start throwing inserts away, and you'll feel a lot better. Does Jimmy have a Diddy Kong hat? No, but that would be a cool idea. I think I'm going to do that. That'd be pretty neat. Targi or Quadropolis? Well, if you have 2 players, Targi. If you have more than 2, Quadropolis. Easy. You should create a video series on blinging your games. Each episode shows one game, what you upgraded, and where you got the upgrades from. I've thought about that, but I haven't upgraded as many games as you might think. And I have a really cool segment on that on Board Game Breakfast right now, where I have one of my guys is just showing you how to upgrade games all the time. So I would recommend you watching that. Peanut butter and jam or peanut butter and banana? Well, this is going to be a sad thing for many people, but I haven't eaten a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in over 20 years. And I have never eaten a peanut butter and banana sandwich. The concept doesn't appeal to me. I think if you have a sandwich, it requires meat. And if you don't have meat, why are you eating a sandwich? With the only exception being grilled cheese. I'm trying to think. Is there any sandwich I eat that's not meat? I mean, even tuna fish is meat. So, yeah, if I'm eating a sandwich, there better be meat on it. Somehow. I'm sorry, I know some folks are vegetarians and all, and that's fine. But for me, I want meat on a sandwich. And if the meat is thicker than the buns, I'm very, very happy. Try again. Yes, that's the name of the time travel story. Well, there you go. Why did I miss that one here? Try again. Maybe I picked the wrong mega pack. Maybe it's in a different. Maybe it was in the first one. But yes, try again. That's a great story. Now that you mentioned that, I like that. Anyhow, someone keeps asking the same question over and over again. It does not make me answer it anymore. Are there any plans to visit more of Europe besides Essen? There is not currently. We were just talking about this today. It's just really hard for us to get. I mean, we are probably maxed out on conventions at this point. Does that mean we won't ever go to new ones? No, we'll still consider going to new conventions, but we are going to a convention every month. I just got back from UK Expo last week. I'm going to Origins tomorrow. I get back from Origins 2 weeks after that. We go to Dice Tower Con 3 weeks after that is Gen Con. Then there is a nice break in there before Essen. But really, that's a lot of conventions to go to, and adding too many more would just really cause problems. And we could probably split up and do different conventions, and that may be our solution for the future. Then who goes to what conventions, and that's where it gets tough. Do board games affect your dreams? Not often. I don't often dream about board games. I often dream more about computer games, but not very often about board games. I go back to college often. So anyhow, do you still play Descent with the first edition stuff? Yeah, I do. I kept all the first edition monsters in the upgrade set, which is another thing I did not like. They didn't include any of that upgrade stuff in the Descent app. I was a little disappointed about that because I have all those monsters and some of those characters I really like, and they weren't included. So, who is choosing the intro music to the videos? Well, not me. My new video editor is probably picking most of it. Derek is picking the music, so it is what it is. Let's see. Well, that's pretty much it. I apologize, folks. I know it's only 45. I usually go an hour on these, but today I'm just going to go 45 minutes because I have much to do. If you're going to be at Origins, I'd love to say hi to you, so come by the booth. We will be in Hall D. On the map, it's called Summer Preview, but you're certainly welcome to come by. We have promos if you're interested in getting some of those. There might be some promos you haven't seen for a while there, too. But if you can't go to Origins, well, then we're going to be live streaming from Origins, as long as it works well, which we think it should. Fingers crossed, Lord willing. But we will be streaming for sure on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We will likely be streaming the Origins Awards live, as long as that works out well. And we might be streaming Saturday and possibly Tuesday, but I'm going to say the chance of us streaming on Tuesday is about 5%. So I wouldn't be too excited about that. But we also have videos going up this week. There's a lot of different things. I've done a lot of reviews. I believe Guilds of London, the new Dominion expansion. Z's continue his top 100. Sam did the new Warhammer Quest. There's a lot of that stuff going up this week, so keep an eye out for that. So, with all that being said, I hope to see those of you at Origins when we get there. And for those of you who aren't going to make it, I will see you guys probably through the live stream at some point. Anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower live.